make the rules. You mess with this and you die like a fool. Hey, here comes the pain. 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 Time to play the game. I am the debt that can't be paid. You're going down in flames. This is the time I cannot lose. Live or die, you'll have to choose. It's all about me, I am the one. Soon you see there's nowhere to run. I am the threat that is so real. Through the blood and the sweat, the pain you will feel. Hey, here comes the pain. 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 Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Now it's time to die. I am the pain, I am the game. You won't forget my name. Time to feel the pain. Time to feel the pain. Time to feel the pain. Go! Time to play the game. 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 Here comes the pain. Here comes the pain. Here comes the pain. Here comes the pain. Time to play the game. Hey, time to play the game. Hey.
This is Gateway City Sports. This is the Derek King Sports Show. Cardinals, Blues, Mizzou Athletics, Chiefs. He has it covered. The Derek King Sports Show. Only on Gateway City Sports.
You know, I hate being right most of the time, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious about it. It's just a simple fact of that, you know, I do my homework. Us over at In the Zone Network, Gateway City Sports, we all know what that means when you say you do your homework and you figure this stuff out. That's why the champ's here, right here. That's why. Because, and the reason is, when it comes to certain things that I have said in the past, and I state them with vigor, I state them with an absolution. I do not waver from it. I will not back off from it. If I am wrong on something, I promise you, I guarantee you, you could take it to the bank. I will admit on air that I am wrong about something. I will. I have no shame in that. But I take great pride in making sure that anything that I tell you guys out there in the wonderful, wonderful world of sports and everything else in between, that what I'm telling you is as close to the truth and the facts that I can make sure that you're getting. I don't want there to ever be a situation where you guys don't have the facts and don't have the truth, because we all know that there's so much misinformation out there in general, even from the big boys. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So I just wanted to kind of clear that up off the cuff, because there's been a lot of people that have questioned me and said, well, if there's a time when you're wrong, will you ever admit it? Absolutely. I have no problem admitting that I'm wrong. I'm human. I make mistakes just like everybody else. I've screwed up. I've messed up, and I will continue to do so. But speaking of screwing up, speaking of messing up, we're going to get right into it. So let's just go ahead. Let's just cut our transition right now. We're just going to go into it. Hang on tight.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
The Cardinals right now have a record of 39-41. .488 winning percentage, about 500 baseball. They're 8 games back in the Central Division. They have a 22-18 home record of winning, but they have not a very good away record, 17-23. They're 4-6 in the last 10. Now, they've kind of picked it up as of late, and they've picked up a couple of games here and there, but to have a 4-game set against the Pirates and drop it, that's inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable. And irregardless of whoever is sitting wherever in their offices, whether that be the hitting coach or the manager or the GM or the president of baseball operations himself, should be sweating. They should be concerned. They should be sweating. They should be worried about what the fans are thinking and worried about right now, because you're coming off of a pandemic type of world. You're trying to get butts back in seats, and you're putting this kind of product out there on the field. And I don't care if this is baseball heaven in St. Louis or not. The reality of the situation is, if you do not right this ship and you do not do it relatively quickly, you're going to be in trouble. I noticed my hat was on there a little sideways. That kind of bothers me whenever that happens. My apologies. Had to make the adjustment there. But that's what I really get concerned about with this team. When or where are the changes going to come from? You could pull from your roster all you want. You can do that. That's okay. But the fact of the matter is, are they ready? Are they the caliber of player? Yeah, Lars Nootbaar has come up and had some success. I watched him in Double-A for a while. Dylan Carlson obviously has had some success. He's been up and down, but he's still young. We've got some other players that have done good. Juan Oviedo has had some success early on. That's great. You still got to have veteran leadership. You still got to have those big arms. You still got to have those big bats. Where are they coming from? You have no protection for Goldschmidt and Arenado. Paul DeYoung couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Don't even get me started on Matt Carpenter, Harrison Bader, whoever else. The fact of the matter is, you've got guys that are out there that should be legging out singles and legging out doubles, and they're trying to swing for the fences. They're worried about launch angle. They're worried about muscling up a hit instead of worrying about the basic fundamentals of baseball. So, I'm going to get off my stump about that, because we could all sit and talk around the campfire about how bad the Cardinals are in their decision-making process when it comes to some of those things. Will Freeman, the main man himself, Will the Thrill, the XFL insider over there off on XFL STL, that's also a In the Zone, One Universal co-production. We are now working together with Gateway City Sports. So we love to have those guys over there, and just kind of wanted to give them a quick talk up on that, because we're very glad and excited to have those guys over. They have always an entertaining show, lots of fun, and you always have a tendency to see yours truly over there pop up every now and again. But Will did state, you can look on Dan Buffa's picks on Twitter from the last Cards game this last weekend, about 25,000 for a Saturday's game. It's not a good That's not good for St. Louis standards. Now, there are certain factors that go into it. We won't get into any of that, but the fact of the matter is, no, that's not good. That's not good for a St. Louis Cardinals baseball game. That's got to tell you something from a fan standpoint. From a real fan standpoint like myself that has been with this team through thick and thin all the way from the early 80s and has watched this team, the ups and the downs and everything else in between. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch. It's hard to take from. Arlington Lane, hey, man, good to see that you're alive and kicking down there in San Antonio. Our very own Arlington Lane has relocated down to San Antonio, Texas. He's going to be still doing his stuff. He's going to be down there doing remote access for the XFL STL show. And doing a few other projects too as well. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's super duper excited about his opportunities down there, and we're happy for him and we're excited for him. So to go forward with the Cardinals, what do? What is it that they have to get? And we've talked about this ad nauseum. I mean, come on. The fact of the matter is their offense is absolutely stagnant. It is terrible. It is awful. Or San Antonio, I'm sorry, Houston, Texas. Why are you in San Antonio? That's on the opposite side of the state. Why are you in San Antonio when you're in Texas? Go ahead and get in the comments there, Arlington, and let us know why in the world you're over in San Antonio, for goodness sakes. Man, I tell you what. So anyway, with the Cardinals, what can they do? I mean, really, to be honest with you, pitching is always key. But if you cannot manage to score runs, you're not going to win games. It's that simple. It's basic mathematics. It's really super duper simple. It couldn't be any easier than that. I get disturbed whenever I hear fans go out and say, we need more pitching. Yeah, we do need some pitching. We need some bullpen pitching. We need another starter or two. We definitely need some help, but we definitely need some bats. We need some consistent bats that can go out there and it's not worried about launch angle and not worried about padding their stats and making sure that they hit 30 home runs in a year because that's what they're going to get paid. Let's just call it what it is. This is a universal failure from the bottom to the top. I remember Mike Matheny when everybody was on him, and I can't stand Mike Matheny. I don't like him. Get rid of the guy. Okay? I mean, I understood that. I was kind of that way myself towards the end, being the leader of men. But he's having success over there in Royals country a little bit there. I have not looked at the standings for the Royals and where they're at in the situation. I will look at that here in just a moment. But now you got Mike Schultz. And now you're starting to see, oh, no, they're dead last. They were having some success earlier in the year. No, not so much now, 33 and 45. So go ahead and correct me on that one. I was wrong. I thought they were doing a little bit better than that. No, they've fallen to the bottom of the pile, so not really a surprise there. But you have another proverbial yes man in Mike Schultz. Oh, golly gosh, gee whiz, we just tried our darndest. The kids just went out there and they just busted their hump, and we're playing really good baseball right now. Or the what was that other constant narrative that he always uses? Well, we're just going out there and we're really trying, or we're going to work on some fundamentals, or just whatever excuse that he's coming out with this week. He's a proverbial yes man. Come on, let's just go ahead and call this what it is. TLR, as much as people might despise him for his personal behavior, but the guy can win baseball games. He can win baseball games. Let's look at this. The White Sox, where are they? Oh, that's right. In first place, 46 and 32. I guess Tony La Russa's just all washed up, right? I guess TLR just isn't a very good manager anymore. He just can't relate to the young kids, can he? You know what I've learned? I'm going to use a little bit of language which I typically don't use. So, shield the ears of the little ones just in 3, 2, 1. Sometimes you need an asshole. That's the truth. Look at any great Hall of Fame coach in any league, sometimes you need an asshole. Sometimes you need a prick. Sometimes you need somebody who is just not a nice person. Sometimes you need that. Bill Belichick, he's not a nice guy. Tony La Russa was never a nice guy. He'd go to bat for you as a player. He would make sure that he took care of you. But I'm telling you right now, sometimes you need an asshole. And that's just the way it is. Will also stated that Albert's doing pretty good for the Dodgers as well. Well, yeah. I mean, how many of us was beating down the front damn door, screaming at the Cardinals? I was personally doing it online. I was screaming and yelling at them, get Albert Pujols in here. I know the caliber. I understand it. I get it. What he brings to a clubhouse. And now he's over there in a Dodger uniform tearing it up. Well, the Cardinals are sitting around here stinking it up, putting the likes of Matt Carpenter and Harrison Bader and Paul DeYoung and, those people out in the field that just, like I said earlier, could not hit water if it fell out of a boat. But going back to the kind of manager that the Cardinals need, they need proper checks and balances. And the problem is that there are none. There's none from the top to the bottom. There's no checks and balances for John Mozeliak. He's got his yes man in Gersh, who's right below him. He's got his yes man in Schilt, who's right below him, and so on and so forth further on down the line. Until you make sure that there is the owner of this franchise, this goes out to Bill DeWitt himself. As the owner of this franchise, it is your responsibility to make sure that there are proper checks and balances with this team. There are none. You've got yes men from the top all the way down to the bottom. You've got John Mozeliak, who's constantly, if he stopped short, he'd probably know what you had for breakfast if the owner stopped short. I'm just going to call it the way it is. I'm not trying to sit here and make friends or do it. I'm just going to say it the way that I feel. And the fact of the matter is John Mozeliak is more worried about tying his sweater around his neck and more worried about keeping his bow tie straight than he is worried about putting good quality ball clubs on the field. And in order to make that happen, he's got to have yes men underneath him that are bought in to the system, that are bought into the program. Need I go back? And I won't play any clips from certain particular movies because I don't want to get in copyright trouble. But from the movie Moneyball, and where the characters of Billy Beane and the manager of the Oakland Athletics, Art Howe, at the time, were at odds about playing certain players. And there was an incident that had happened where he wanted Scott Hatteberg to be playing first base, and the manager was playing Pena at first, Art Howe. And then they just went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until it finally got to a point where, okay, I'm going to have to start doing stuff as GM. I'm going to start having to force him to play this team the way I want him to play this team. And so what did he start doing? He started trading players. He started moving players. He traded Pena. He traded Jason Giambi's little brother, Jeremy. Traded him to, I believe, the Phillies at the time, if I'm not mistaken. And they got Mabry, John Mabry, who former Cardinal, in return. And I remember in that movie where it was just this constant infighting of all this other stuff. And what they were trying to do was instill the fact that he needed guys in the system. That's why he brought in the character of Peter Brandt, which we all know who that really was. But to bring in, because Peter Brandt's a fictional character based on the real life person of the time, brought in a yes man. Brought in his guy underneath him that's going to tote that line, that's going to be spewing that same narrative. Makes sense. Anytime, and any of you guys or gals out there that are listening or watching to this show on any platform, and I just want to remind you, we are on every platform out there. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Captivate. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube. We're on every platform that you can possibly imagine over here at Gateway City Sports, and also over on GatewayCitySports.com. But here's the thing. Any of us that have ever had a job, doesn't matter in what field, when you have a change of administration at a higher level, let's say a general manager of a company, and that general manager retires, is fired, whatever, moves on to another job, that person leaves, all the other underlings go. Whether you like it or not, it's almost a guaranteed fact that all of those other people are going to be gone too as well. It's going to be an absolute house cleaning. That's what the Cardinals need right now, is a house cleaning. Or either that or have proper checks and balances with a manager who actually has some guts to stand up to upper management and go to the owner and say, I need better players. I need more players. I need this or I need that, like TLR did. TLR was the ultimate check and balance to John Mozeliak. That's why Walt Jocketty had the success that he did with TLR, because he would work with TLR. There was a negotiation. I'm sorry about hitting the microphone. My apologies to your ears. But it was a back and forth. Constantly. It was professionalism at its finest. Two people working together in tandem to bring you an amazing product. That's what this was all about. But now here we are, with the situation that we have, with a bunch of yes men that are too worried about going against the grain, that aren't going to toe the line, the narrative. And you listen to Mike Schilt's press conferences, you're hearing the same mumbo-jumbo nonsense out of his mouth that you hear out of John Mozeliak, that you hear out of Michael Gersh. You're hearing the same thing. It's the same script from top to bottom. You never hear a differencing of opinion. You just don't hear it, because that's not what they want you to hear. They want you to hear the narrative, what they've created. The whole, Cardinals, what's the constant? The best fans in baseball, Cardinal Nation, all this other stuff. And they want to preach this narrative. Well, guess what? It's starting to get to a point where it's falling on deaf ears, because people are smart enough to see what's going on here. I'm smart enough to see it. I know there's a lot of fans out there that are watching this show, listening to this show on every single platform that we're out there on. And they know the same thing. So I don't think we have to flog that dead horse any longer. So we're going to move on to the next topic of discussion. And it was funny. This is a little bit of NFL talk we're going to move into here real quick. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tease. There was a incident that happened here about a week or so ago that Tom Brady was upset at a particular team that was shopping him when he was a free agent, and was really interested and decided to stick with the situation that they had, and it upset him very greatly, because I really think that he probably wanted to go to this particular team. But we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that Tom Brady situation and the quote-unquote, you're going to stick with that MFer. End quote. Quote, end quote. So we're going to come back. We'll talk about that just here in a minute. So hang tight. Hey everybody, this is Derek King with the Derek King Sports Show. We all know how important it is to stay protected. Sometimes life throws you a curve, and that's why you need Allstate. The Wiley Group has 2 locations in Festus and Arnold to serve you. They offer home, auto, boat, motorcycle, business, life insurance, investments, and so much more. They offer a customized approach that is unique to your situation to make sure that you, your family, and assets are properly protected. They also offer great rates and savings. Give Sean and his team a call today at 636-764-6294. They'll help you with an insurance quote right over the phone. Even give them a call if you just want to talk sports. They do that too. We all have busy lives, so you can also email Sean at seanwiley@allstate.com and talk to him about your coverage options. And remember, you're in good hands with Allstate. All right, we're back. So before the break, we teased the Tom Brady thing. We're going to talk about that a little bit because he was quite upset over this particular team that was shopping. And there's been a lot of people that have said, well, it's got to be the Los Angeles Chargers. I disagree. And the reason that I disagree was because the Los Angeles Chargers were really trying hard to land him. So I don't see that that really is the case. The first thought that I had was that it came down to a couple of teams. You know, I thought, well, maybe it was the Giants. Well, I don't know if the Giants were really shopping him. Well, could it have been the Washington football team? That's a possibility. I mean, at that time period, were they looking for a solid quarterback? I don't remember the Alex Smith situation at the time, whether he was injured or what the deal was there at that point in time. So I was kind of going through my head thinking about what all the teams that were interested, and then I thought, well, it's got to be the Saints. You know, NFC South. You know, it just makes sense, right? Well, I don't think so. What I think the team is, and actually Colin Cowherd had brought this up. I believe it was Colin Cowherd that had brought it up. It could have been someone else. But I believe it was him. And had stated that he felt that it was the Tennessee Titans. Which actually makes some sense. Because at the time, they were bringing in Tannehill. Free agent deal, whatever it was. Was he on a trade or they were going to get ready to sign him to a free agent deal? I can't remember exactly the specifics. But they were bringing in Tannehill, and Vrabel was the head coach. It is the head coach. So it made, sense that potentially could be it. And Tom Brady obviously got his nose cut off that they would, quote, stick with that MFer, and the end quote, that was Tom Brady's quote, over signing him to a potential contract. Now, remember, Tom Brady did go to Tennessee. He did go to Nashville, and he was, I guess, looking at schools for his kids and looking at properties and stuff like that. So apparently it was getting pretty close. There was definitely something there. So that whole situation with Tom Brady, whether or not he could have potentially ended up being a Tennessee Titan, would that have been a good thing? Would it have been a bad thing? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think that the Titans are in very good condition with having Ryan Tannehill as quarterback. But where are you leaving meat on the table? Obviously, seeing what we saw with Tom Brady in Tampa, bringing in Gronk, bringing in Antonio Brown, bringing in all these other different characters, and going in and winning a Super Bowl. Did they leave meat on the table? That remains to be seen. It's hard to say. So I just thought that was an interesting little topic of discussion that I wanted to bring up and I wanted to discuss. I wanted to talk about it. So the other thing I want to talk about is this is NFL related, so we're staying in the same segment. But we're going to touch again on the St. Louis lawsuit situation and just kind of update you guys on what's going on with the NFL St. Louis lawsuit front. Right now, the defense has filed a response to the plaintiff's motion, which would be the city and county of St. Louis and the CBC, for the motion for discovery concerning the defendant's assets for assessment of punitive damages. So basically what they want to do is they want to look at the assets of the owners in the NFL and basically determine their assessment, make an assessment for punitive damages. So we're getting down the line here with this, that it's getting that way. And obviously the defense wants to fight it. They want to fight that very hard. I understand that. So there's lots of filings that are going on right now. Things we talked about in the last show, the cases that were, or the case files that were released, that were leaked. We have them. I have them personally. I have hard copies. I have digital copies. I'm in the process of writing a very intensive article, an involved article on that subject matter that's going to be up hopefully soon, and it's where you guys will be able to access those files too as well over on gatewaycitysports.com. But it's definitely heading that direction. So I would not be surprised. Keep your ear to the ground, because there's definitely rumblings. We could start getting to a point here very soon where we start hearing rumors of conversation of settlement. I think that's definitely where we're heading. I think the NFL knows that their goose is cooked. I think they know that the city of St. Louis and the county and CBC have them dead to rights, over a barrel, as they say in my neck of the woods. And we'll see where they go from there. But I just wanted to update you guys on that. That was kind of one of the big things I wanted to talk about. A couple other things that I wanted to talk about. We kind of touched on it earlier in the show. And that was the now relationship between Gateway City Sports and the XFL to SDL talk show. And that is a One Universal and In the Zone Network co-production, hosted by Dirty himself, the great Arlington A-Train Lane, with co-host, guest host, whatever you will call him, but the insider himself, Will the Thrill, and some other odd guests that pop in periodically, present company included, that enjoy the show, have a lot of fun. We are now partnered with the XFL STL show, and we're excited about it. We're happy about it. We want to bring that XFL content to you guys. They're every Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can set your watch by it. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m., the show goes live, and usually runs between an hour and a half, but I'm telling you guys and gals, it is a fun time every single time that I tune into that show, whether I'm a guest or whether I'm just a fan like everybody else, and listening to the show and having a great time with it. Guys, this next show you're not going to want to miss. You're not going to want to miss it. It's huge. They've got a lot of stuff going on. I am not going to sit and get into it. I'm just going to tease you. I'm just going to dangle the carrot a little bit. You need to tune in tonight at 7 p.m. It's an absolute must that you got to tune in, because there's going to be a lot of really good information they're going to be sharing with you guys that's coming up. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say any more, because I don't want to give it away, because it's a big deal. So make sure you tune in every Wednesday, but specifically tonight, because it is Wednesday at 7 p.m. One Universal, In the Zone, Gateway City Sports co-production, XFL STL show. So that pretty much covers it, for this week. I wanted to crab about the Cardinals a little bit. I wanted to update you guys on the lawsuit front. That little tidbit of Tom Brady news. I wanted to get that in there. But outside of that, that's about the extent of it. So thank you guys. I cannot thank you enough for tuning in, for sharing the show, for putting it out there. You guys have been tremendous. You want to talk about grassroots and growing a show, growing a platform, and all these other things. I can't thank you guys and gals enough for helping us out. So Will did pop in, and he wanted to state some quick Blues notes. Possibly Tarasenko being traded, and Keith's son, rumors that he wants out of Calgary. Kachuk. Now, Vladimir Tarasenko, could he be traded? There's a possibility, man. I don't really know. Armstrong is really aggressive. He's a really aggressive GM, and nothing would surprise me. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what comes up with all of that, because there's definitely that rumor mill on the Blues front keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter as they go along. So we'll stay on top of it as much as we can. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I love you. I'll see you next week, 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in to XFL STL show tonight, 7 p.m. sharp. We'll see you then, guys. Talk to you later. Hey, this is Derek King with the Derek King Sports Show. We all know buying a vehicle can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Fifth Street Motors, located in Pacific, Missouri, will help you find the vehicle that you need no matter what brand. Fifth Street Motors believes in giving you the best price on a pre-owned vehicle that will fit your budget. Give Brandon or Don a call today at 573-259-1306 and make sure you tell them that Gateway City Sports sent you.